Which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a rugby fullback. I find touch, she find touch, we both find touch together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, finding touch together. If I were the marrying kind, which thank the Lord I'm not, sir. The kind of man that I would be a wing 3/4. I'd go hard, she'd go hard.
Initiate the Contact is back on the air. It is Wednesday night live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from the Deep End Broadcasting Studios on the lovely shores in the springtime of Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. And joining me, Stephen Murray, is the coach, Dayle Runner. Dayle, missed you last week out of studio, but you're back. And the Newport News Mariners are officially on fire. How's it going, man? Congrats on the big win.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and I'm glad to be back. Yes, indeed. We won the D3 South regular season. We went 8-0. We averaged 49.5 points a game, and we only gave up 11. So I want to congratulate all my players and my coaches, Johnny Law, my backs coach, Mark Fisher, my forwards coach, all the way from my oldest player, Gerald Fisher, at the ripe old age of 50, to David Norris, who just started playing. We call him Chuck, who's only 19. But we got a big variation, and we've been averaging 28 to 35 at practice. And I'm trying to get up to 45 because, we want to have two teams. And all the doubters out there, all the naysayers.
Yeah, you've been playing B-sides. We'll talk about some B-side down on the farm later, but you've been playing B-sides. And, I don't know how many naysayers or doubters there are out there, Coach Dayle, like you're probably getting ready to allude to. But Newport News is in the playoffs, and here we go, man.
Yes, and we're going to touch on it in the down the farm section with we got to play Virginia men again Saturday at home. They're a great bunch of guys. They got a lot of good rugby players. They got a lot of good veterans. And I want to give them credit for traveling 2 weeks in a row to us because it's not easy to do. And
so this is a regular season game. You beat them, and now you actually rematch playoff first round, right?
Yes, sir.
That's how that works.
And we have to win it because if we lose, we're out. And they go on to the next round. So we'll touch on that here when we get to the down the farm section, sir.
All right, Major League Rugby, too, is our focus. And also, Coach, we'll have on another coach, and he's been on our show before as well. Our man Tom Zuch is back from Ireland.
Oh, man.
So we're going to get a recap from him and get the latest from Zuch and everything. He was over there when Ireland won the World Cup. Not the World Cup, the Six Nations. But arguably the best team in the world right now. So they'll have the chance to prove that in the World Cup here coming up soon. I think that's sooner than later, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Major League Rugby. Let's get to that, Coach Dayle, because I'll tell you what. I told you this off the air. This could be a crazy last week of games, right? I told you about Dallas, who was a 20-1 underdog. They were paying off 20-1. And if you wanted New England to beat Dallas, you had to lay a ridiculous amount of money just to win $100. You'd have to risk $8,000 just to win $100 on New England, the Free Jacks, last week to beat Dallas. And the outcome of the game, just 1 point. So even some of these teams who are down towards the bottom of the standings don't really count them out to be complete knockovers, as Dallas played a really good game. And they've actually, so this is, I think, 2 games in a row now they've lost by 2 points combined.
Yes, sir.
By them. So we'll see if they can turn it around. And we have a good slate of games coming up. And just to recap everything that happened last week real quick, in case you haven't been following, you've been in your own rugby world, whatever. Seattle continues to be the lone undefeated team. They win at Chicago 27-5. Houston still having a nice season. They beat Rugby Atlanta 40-28 in the highest scoring game of the weekend. There's the New England Dallas score 10-9. Utah they get some nice wins. They have a nice back line. They're a fun team to watch. When I got them, and I liked them in this game against Toronto. I don't think I gave that out as an official pick last week. I can't really remember. But they should have been. They win big time, 47-19. Old Glory DC and NOLA. I watched that game. That was the game on Saturday, and that was a real close one. NOLA wins that one 20-17. We saw our man Doc Irie out there on the field, getting him some right there, getting some tackles there, as the Washington Fords were unable to break that line of the Fords there on the fringe. So that's that for there. Let's look at the standings real quick, see where they sit. Seattle 5-0. Like we said, they have 21 points. San Diego with 21 points. Both defensively outstanding. Seattle has just allowed 60. San Diego has allowed 70. There's Houston right there with 20 points. And Utah is keeping right there in the, not necessarily the rear view mirror. They're just kind of running a little bit behind. 14 points for them right now, 3-2 overall on the year. Those top three teams, just the two losses combined out of those three teams. San Diego and Houston each just one loss. Chicago 1-4. Dallas 0-6 for Dallas. And Dallas they can't score is their problem. 78 points right now, where everyone else in the upper tier is scoring anywhere from like 139 to 150.
Yes, sir.
All right, in the East, and the points work this way: 4 for a win, 2 for a draw, 0 if you lose, 1 losing bonus point if you lose by 7 points or fewer. Right. So if you keep it close, you get a point, and then you get 1 try bonus point if you can dot the ball in the try zone 4 times or more. I always like getting that bonus point, Coach Dayle, rubbing it in it. Get that bonus point. Get that one. Hey, man, we get that bonus point. Let's stop trying to run this thing out.
That's right.
All right, in the East, New England sits at the top, 19 points overall, 4-1. And then it's just jam-packed, really. NOLA's 3-3, Old Glory DC 2-3, Rugby Atlanta 2-3, New York 2-3. Each of those teams, really, if you look at their points scored and their points allowed, if you average them out, they're all right there together. Maybe New York with a little bit better defense, only allowing 100 points. That's only second to New England's defense, who's allowed 99. And no real super scoring teams like they have in the West, although New England and NOLA actually have decent amounts. 130 for NOLA, 125 for New England. Actually, Old Glory, our boys here in DC, 127 points scored and a plus 9-point differential. Dayle, I don't know. You have any take on the standings there, how everything's kind of broken down here? Seattle looks like they are definitely worthy of being the top dog, and we just have a good I don't know. I think we have a couple teams struggling, but besides that, I mean, I think it's almost kind of wide open. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. So when you look at the two teams out west, the three teams actually, the Sabercats, Legion, and the Seawolves, their defenses, their flatline defense, I'll say this until I'm in my grave, and I know my players get tired of me saying it. No matter what level of rugby you play, if you do not have flatline defense, if you are not in shape and cannot tackle, you will lose games. I don't care how much you know about rugby. You can know every law. You can know every drill. You can complain this, that, and the other. But if you don't do them first three things I'm saying, you're going to lose 85% of your games. Because I watched Old Glory, okay, their post and pillar defense was terrible last week, okay? They're out like, this is unacceptable at this level. You should be, as a player, you know that if you've played at least 3 years religiously, you know to be in post and pillar. These guys were out over 2 meters out, and they were just like, I said, the one scrum half took it right off of there from New England. I'm like, come on, man, it is unacceptable.
I've seen a few scores there, Dayle, where they cut it real inside tight. And it's either the A-man or the scrum. He just kind of sneaks it right up there through the middle.
Right. So I know a lot of these guys, they love offensive rugby. It's like, oh, man, we need to get it out. We need to do all this and all this garbage. I hear you, man, okay? But at the same time, if you're not doing them three things I'm talking about, you're going to lose 85% of your games. You're going to have an exception to the rule every so often. So when you look at San Diego, the best thing they got going for them is their scrum half and their fly half and their relationship talking back and forth. So I watched them when they scored 2 tries outside, and what they did was the whole game they played inside 10-man rugby. And then what was happening, the defense was coming in. So you don't think 5 to 7 meters makes a difference. And everybody will do this, but it's whether the scrum half and fly half can recognize that they're coming in. When they recognize that, they can get the ball for the overload for the 2-on-1, 3-on-2 out there. That's when it's really exciting. So that's what me and John are trying to do with our scrum half and fly half. Recognize when their defense starts coming in. We're not worried about them coming up to the game line. We always want to beat them to the game line. That should happen every time if you've got experienced players. But you need to recognize that wing and outside center creeping in. And once you do that, with 25 minutes left in the game, that's when you're going to score all your points outside. You look at all matches in rugby, it's really not that hard to figure out. But people want to try to, I'm sure these major league teams, okay, they think that, like, I'll give you an example, Dallas, Chicago. I guarantee you these coaches think, well, we don't have to work on fundamentals, setting the ball, rucking properly, this, that, and the other. They think they know all this, okay, which they should. But you still got to drill them in their case. They're still young kids, man. These guys are still from the age of 18 to 25. They still do not know the game all the way, no matter how athletic they are.
How about this, Dayle? It is the one thing that I know you preach it as a coach, but I think it's a complete lost art, and you really have to be mentally tuned into it. But situational awareness at all times, okay? Situational awareness, put yourself, what's this guy going to do? What's that? Play the scenarios in your head. Think outcomes, channel your own visions, stuff like that. Do you think that it is something that can only come naturally? Do you think you can kind of teach that to someone? Because, man, you see a lot of times, and a lot of the mistakes you do see that I've seen here in Major League Rugby are just those moments in the instance of kind of stupidity where you kind of olay a guy and he just kind of has gotten the free pass into the try zone, or, just bad tackling. Maybe the guy doesn't dive for the guy either, as he's scamping through the back line. But how about situational awareness? Break that down to me for a minute.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you asked this question because I tell my players and coaches all the time. I tell Johnny Law and Mark Fisher this. And I'll tell any Division I coach or Super League coach, you never want to take away anyone's natural ability. So in other words, you can refine, like I got 2 guys on my team, Jose Rogers and Brandon Jeffries. We call them 10. These guys are naturally athletic. Okay. Now they've been playing since high school. They know the game. They got a high acumen to the game. Now, sometimes when they're playing lesser competition, they'll try to do too much, which is natural. Anybody's going to do that. But you don't want to take away their natural abilities. So, like, you'll hear these guys, the only time you should pick up 8-man is inside the 22. Well, not necessarily. So if I'm at about the 40 meter and we recognize that we're beating these flankers off of there, I'm going to pick up 8-man and I'm going to go with it, okay? Now, their flanker can get there and make a tackle right there, then we're not going to do it. But that's situational athleticism where a lot of people, I say this, no disrespect, anybody that's got 2 or 3 degrees, or all these guys have been playing rugby 40 years, sometimes you get caught up in all this high-level mentality of rugby. And that'll cost you in the long run because you can't take away natural ability. So, like, I got this one guy playing fly half right now, Carlos Garcia. He's not the most fit guy, but a guy is very athletic and he's smart. And he lures the defense away. He doesn't do natural like fly half stuff. So he sees certain situations. So if I'm playing out, this is what I'm getting at with the situational rugby, Steve. If I'm his, inside center, and I see him break loose, like, well, maybe he was going to pass to me. You can't get caught up and think, well, he's supposed to pass me, and I'm not going to do anything. So I'm just going to sit here and watch him run. That right there, if you're coaching that and you chew that player out and he breaks through and gets 40 meters, you're wrong. So what you need to do is wait till you get to the practice field and say, well, we might want to do this instead of this. But if he breaks loose, that inside center, that flanker, they need to be coming on because that's situational rugby right there, situational athleticism. You don't want to take that away because if you do, and this guy gets dormant, and then he plays strictly ritual rugby, like structured rugby, which loses more games than anything. Anybody doesn't believe that, they haven't watched rugby or haven't played. Structured rugby is great for 75%, but that other 25% is situational athleticism. So my fly half and scrum half, like I was telling you, you see the wing and outside center come in, you need to recognize it. I'm an 8-man, I see I can pick it up, and I know I can beat that flanker. Why not?
Yep.
So if I know I can run these guys over and play 10-man rugby and play phase rugby, I'm going to do that. If I know I can beat these guys outside and I'm scoring 3 or 4 tries, I'm going to do that. You don't need to change up until they stop you 3 times in a row. So I don't care if I got a coach that knows more about rugby or more about drills. That doesn't mean you know how to win rugby matches. You see what I'm saying? So it also comes into what's called situational coaching. So I'm going to go with the strength of my team and who I feel is the best at those situations. And what I'm doing with my team is we have superior athletes to a lot of teams. So my job is to get these guys in shape, hold their egos in check, and let them do their thing on the field. Once they get in that perimeter of that field, they need to do their thing. When they're at practice, I'll make sure they do this. So you see what I'm saying on that point?
This is straight knowledge bombs, man. I love it, Coach Dayle.
Yes.
Good stuff. I'll tell you what. We have Tom Zuch. He needs to be off by 5:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 8:15 our time. So let's go ahead and take a break. We'll plug in Zuch. We need to hear about Ireland. After that, we'll go down on the farm. And then when we cut back, when we finish a little more down on the farm stuff, what we'll do is we'll go through the Major League Rugby games coming up for the next week. We'll go through the point spreads a little bit, see if we make a pick or two with what they're offering, and we'll take it from there. All right? So Tom Zuch coming up next, down on the farm right after that, and the combo with some Major League Rugby picks. We'll get Coach Dayle, I think you'll want to know on your picks. I think I remember from whoever you picked out one time.
Yeah.
You picked against Toronto. I think that's been the safe bet every time.
That was easy.
Okay, so this is Initiate the Contact. This is Deep Ends coverage of Major League Rugby and more. I am Stephen Murray. He is the coach, Dayle Runner. We're going to take a quick break, and we will tune up Mr. Tom Zuch and get the update from everything that happened in Ireland when they won the Six Nations. All right, we'll be back right after this.
I like that session because, me and Johnny Law are best friends, but he's a noob. That motherfucker, if it ain't exactly fucking inside center crash, he probably said this for a half hour, right? The guy does. The fucking guy runs around the scrum and scores, he'll chew him out for all that time. Did he score? Yeah, well, shit. That's why it kills me with that shit now. Before we get back there, I'm asking this question. How important do you think setting the ball is back and getting it out quicker?
Yeah.
I'm just asking, how important of a phase of the game is that?
Oh, man, that's all the difference in the world. You got to catch them off their feet.
As well as dire
I don't like that switch. You need to catch the other teams when they're cutting on their angles still. They're disorganized.
Yeah.
Anytime you do that, you're
Because, I hear a lot of people say, Carlos is so slow getting it out.
It falls under the category of
again, it's all coastal pressure.
This
But if you maintain possession, you can't lose.
Yeah.
I watched that fucking Ireland game.
At
I think if they
Coastal,
took
pressure,
time possession, it had to be
watching.
65 minutes.
How about this? Just the ability to offload. Be able to make the sick pass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's all the
See,
difference.
Jonathan and Tenner's so good at
You
that.
got to be able to like practice that on your own time and stuff like that. Don't do anything too stupid.
Right, I got you.
But I mean,
So passing into contact, what is your exact definition of that? Is it somebody that's holding you and you try to do something you shouldn't do, you should just go down and set it? Is that your definition of passing?
usually I try to take it for a ride and I go down and quick set it. But there are times where I
If it's obvious, the guy's over.
if I got an overload, I'm going to use it.
I hate when somebody, well, you should have never done it. Did we keep the ball? You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, you know, I was pretty good at the dummy too. Usually when I did a dummy, I'd be running kind of free, and then someone had to run and trick me up from behind or something like that.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive.
I like that second.
One
Thanks.
punch.
One of them.
Yeah, please.
It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you're fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Family owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff
All right, let me get you something.
will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Opening will be served until and the night limited venue until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676, or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information.
Hey, Tom, I'm gonna plug you in, all right?
Shuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time. Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filters, the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
Which strength the road I'm not served. The kind of man that I would be a rugby scrum half. I put it in, she put it in, we both put it in together. We'd be alright in the middle of the night, putting it in together. If I was
Initiate the Contact is back. I am Stephen Murray with the coach Dayle Runner, and we've had our guest on now here on a few weeks ago. We talked to Tom Zuch, and he was days or weeks, I guess, before his trip to Ireland, in which he was there when the Irish hoisted the Six Nations. Now Tom is back. He somehow survived that trip and made it back to the United States. So we need to get a full update on all of that. Tom, how's it going, man? How's everything doing? How's everything out there in California?
Recovering from rugby or drinking?
Tom, let me ask you, man. So you are Tom Zuch. You're arriving in, I guess, Dublin Airport. Is that the airport you flew into? All right, you arrive in Dublin. What's the first thing that you do? You're very cultural man, sir. I mean, you appreciate your surroundings and you take in the moments of where you're at in life. So what are your thoughts personally as you come out of that airport? I'm in Ireland. This is a kind of a great moment in my life. Take me back to your feelings as you strolled into that country, sir. Okay, so the game was on Saturday, and we had St. Patrick's Day on Friday. So you were there on Thursday too, correct? What was the atmosphere kind of like energy-wise, kind of leading up into the whole weekend of St. Patty's Day, and especially with the game and the locals there? Kind of give me a feel of maybe like what the pubs were like, your interactions with people there, how excited they were, kind of that sort of thing.
Sorry.
Right.
Oh, wow.
No, yeah. The English played good, and then even to the down to the last minute when they were down 2 players because they had 1 red card and the sin bin there at the end. They went out valiantly, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead. What does the feel like there for the second half once they realized they were going to win? I mean, we like. I mean, we've been the great sporting moments, Tom, together, like the Kentucky Derby. You know, I mean, can you compare it to something like that?
Oh, boy. Okay.
I stepped away and I missed that part exactly.
What was the red card? What exactly happened? Sir? No, I did not. That's why I was like wondering what happened there. Mm. Yeah, no doubt. So what I'm asking is, was it in a scrum? Was it in an open play? Because I didn't see it. Oh, wow. That seems like I mean, from what way you're telling it, it seems like it's very unintentional. Like that's pretty hard to do something like that intentionally, if you get what I'm saying. Oh, okay. I got you. Especially at that level, I guess if you let something like that slide, then okay, you got to let this slide, and let that slide, and then you're going to hear all the BS from everybody else, right?
Hey, Tom. Let me call you back in 1 second. I want to reconnect the line. All right. Yeah. All right. I think the digital came through bad on this line. So
Was it record?
oh, we're still on there. Hey, Tom. All right, let me plug you back in. Hold on. I think it's the actual sequence of his cell phone. All right, Tom, you good to go? All right, cool. All right, Dayle, what do you got for Tom?
Hey, Tom. So I just wanted to let you know we went 8-0, won our regular season Division III South title. Me, John, we're working hard along with our new forwards coach, Mark Fisher, and we play in the first round of the playoffs this next Saturday against Virginia men. But I'm going to ask you a couple of questions since you played some higher level rugby. So how important is, this is just a question I ask everybody, how important is setting the ball and getting it out quickly? What's your take on that whole sequence there? Thank you very much. I got you. That's what I was figuring it was going to be. But, you know, everybody's got a different take on that whole situation. You know what I'm saying? It depends on, it's like athletic awareness, rugby awareness. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Coach Dayle, I mean, let me add to that, Tom, and I'll explain a little bit more about you and the fact that when we played, we were one of the original teams that just tried to ruck with 1 or 2 or 3 guys, and we tried to get those big back lines together to try to move the ball down and advance. And you called it a Southern Hemisphere type of style of play because, of course, you play with the Islanders down there in Hawaii and stuff like that. But talk about that a little bit more. Just, I mean, you were always wanting to keep the team on their heels and moving that ball fast, right, Tom?
Okay. So do you like offensive rugby or defensive rugby better? What do you like better? I love you for saying that. Very well. That's what I was saying. I mean, I always say if you can keep them, if you can maintain possession on offense and your defense can play flat line, especially at Division II and Division III, because you ain't gonna have a lot of kicking down the field back and forth. If you can keep that flat line defense and no cracks, you can stay in every match. Oh God, I'm telling you. Yes.
All right, Tom, I know you got to run, man. You got to get off the phone for whatever you're doing. But let's check back in a couple of weeks. All right, brother?
Always. Thank you very much, sir. We'll talk soon. Peace.
All right, Dayle. Tom Zoosh talking about some Ireland there.
That was a good segment. I mean, I like the part where you talk about the camaraderie with all the fans. And like in America with the Super Bowl, you got 32 teams in NFL. You know, and you got 30 teams in the NBA or whatever, 32 NHL, 28 Major League. So everybody's got their team like that, right? But like in some kind of nations over there with rugby, you just got the top. And then you got small leagues under, like we got, you know, minor league system. That's basically what 90% of that is over there.
It's crazy that he just saw so many Americans over there. It was hard to hang out with an Irishman over there.
I know, but it's just crazy. So, you know, I wish Americans would get more on board with rugby, man, because, you know, Walter Camp, God bless you, made many a millionaires in the NFL, but you ruined the game of rugby by inventing NFL. I say that now, even though I played college ball and semi-pro football, and I love football, but rugby is the most addicting sport, that in wrestling, ever. And I'm so glad Johnny Law called me out to get me to come out there and play rugby. And now we coach together. We have a blast doing it.
All right, let's talk some down on the farm stuff.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into the Major League Rugby games for next week.
Yes, sir.
We'll go ahead and break those down as we see them. We'll go ahead and get on out of here. All right, down on the farm. It is playoff. It is week 1. You, of course, have experienced playoff players. You have some other players not so experienced in the playoffs. What do you do to maybe calm the nerves down to one of the younger players who don't have any experience? What do you say to that player in preparation for him not to F it all up for your team on Saturday?
That's pretty good. So first off, I want to congratulate all my brand new players for coming out and making my A side a better team. So my goal was, when I took over for March 1st last year, my goal was to win this division in 2 years. But I obviously won it in less than a year. I know a lot of guys doubted me. I know I can name 3 or 4 players like Nolan Trooper, Gally Kissel. They all probably looked at me like, yeah, man, you're crazy. You're talking all this garbage, this, that, and the other. But I have no reason to talk that unless I'm going to do it. If I'm going to talk it, I'm going to produce it. So all I need is people to come out and play rugby. I'll do the rest of it. I just need you to show up, for the backs to show up for Johnny Law and the forwards to show up for Mark Fisher, and my veteran players to take these new players under their wing, because my goal is to win the whole thing. I'm not saying I'm going to win the whole thing, but I tell you what, I'm sure he's going to give it a hell of a try. So what I do with my players is I tell them to go out and have fun. No matter what the game is, just go have fun. Don't be uptight. For one, being nervous and uptight is not going to make you any better. Go out there, have a blast. If you lose, take it in stride, learn from it. No one likes to lose. If you accept losing, then you're a loser, okay? You take losing with grace, and what I mean by that is you respect the other team that beat you. So you shake their hand, you clap them off, you clap the referee off. That's what I'm trying to get with my team. So my brand new players are learning rugby culture. So there's a difference between rugby culture and any other sport, probably other than wrestling. You don't disrespect officials. You don't disrespect other players. If you do, you get suspended. I've had to do that. But what I do is I hold everybody accountable at the same level, whether you've been playing 15 years or you just started. I'm not going to be 100% on everything I do, but everybody knows I'm very direct and to the point. I love all my players. I want to go into this game against Virginia men. I respect everybody from Kerry, Connor, Roger. I mean, all these guys, Doug, Nathan and A, man. I respect Virginia men rugby, man. I've played 50 games against these guys in my life. They've probably got a winning record against us, you know, because they get a lot of UVA grads. They get a lot of foreign players up there back in the day. And they were a good team. They were a very good team, right? So, but when I look back at that and I look at other teams that we used to get beat by, I know what I need to do to beat these teams, okay? No team out there, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or disrespectful to anybody, what else you do. If you beat me on conditioning, I need to know what you're doing. Because you're not going to beat me on conditioning. We got great athletes. I got a few better athletes than most teams because there's a lot of athletes in the Newport News, Hampton area. All you got to do is look at the football, basketball, baseball in the professional levels. So what I'm doing with these guys is I'm teaching them discipline, rugby etiquette, and respect to the game, along with running them to death, teaching fundamentals, making us a team. So when we play Virginia men this Saturday at 1 o'clock, I want as many people that are in the rugby community to come out. If you're in the Newport News Hampton area, come out to Flora Crittenden Middle School on Jefferson Avenue and watch us play rugby. I am trying to win a national title. We play Virginia men this Saturday. We win that. We're off a week, and then we play either North Bay, which is in the middle of Maryland, or Nova 3. Whoever wins that game, that's who we play on April 15th. If we win that, we're off a week. And then on April 29th, we play the regionals in Richmond. I don't know who will be there. I see there's like 4 leagues or whatever. It's all new to us. Only 3 times in the Newport News team I've been with for 30 years or whatever have we made the playoffs. I think we made it 6 times, but we only got past the first round twice. That was in 2003. And then the best team we ever had in Newport News was 2016. We got to the final 16. Probably should have went a little bit further, but this team might be my best team we've ever had. So if we win the regionals, then we go to nationals. Where that at, I don't know. We got a lot to work on, okay? And I'm going to work on my players. I'm going to work them to death. I'm going to work them hard. I'm going to hold them accountable. And I want all my players to respect the coaching staff and the game of rugby. Virginia men's traveling down 2 weeks in a row to play us. So those guys, I respect you a whole lot. We need every other team in our league, Blackwater, Roanoke. We need to get Blacksburg and Rocktown back on board. Virginia Beach, Norfolk's D3 side. Then we need Richmond, James River to get both teams back. Rappahannock. You need to do better recruiting, everybody. If you're a head coach of any of these teams, okay, or a president of these clubs, you need to do a better job of getting players out. That way we can save the game of rugby in the state of Virginia. If you're not recruiting, if you're not calling players to keep them coming out, you're not doing your job. If you think people are just going to show up that are brand new and keep coming out, you're crazy. It doesn't work that way. So you need to do more work off-site so that way we can keep this great sport going. In Newport News, we're going to be at the top as long as me, Johnny Law, and Mark Fisher are running it, and the players I got, we're going to try to stay at the top every year. I'm going to do everything I can. And I want to make the rest of the teams look at us, because in the past, a lot of people look at us and laugh at us. But I want people to look at us, and we want to be the model. And I'm going that way. So if you hear me, what I'm saying, I want to be the model of rugby in the state of Virginia. You just keep coming out. You players come out to play for me, and we'll get there. So play Virginia men Saturday. We hope to win this match. And we'll have a social at TJ Tavern after that. TJ Sports Tavern right there on Huntington. Right after that match.
1 o'clock kickoff?
Yes, sir. 1 o'clock kickoff. And hey, man, I love this game of rugby, man. I'm trying to win this whole thing. I've worked hard at it. I do a lot of work off-site. It's not easy, you know, but I'll be the head coach and the president as long as my players want me to, because I just need players to show up, and I have my Johnny Law, Mark Fisher, and my leadership coach the team. I'll put out everything we need to do, and they'll follow through with me. Because they'll work with me as long as I work with them. That's how you run a team. If you're a head coach and you're trying to do everything, not trying to do everything and doing the right thing, but I'm talking about if you think that you know more about rugby than everybody and you don't feel anybody else can do it, then you shouldn't even get a team, because we've been down that road before. And there's a couple people that tried to run a team before, but they don't know how to run a team. They just come out there and expect people to show up and you don't do anything. So hear me out. I want everybody to come out and watch Newport News Mariners. This team was started by Mitch Avin in 1978. We're trying to win everything, and I want everybody to come and watch us and support us 100%.
Where is your first, big-time travel scenario? If you were to keep kind of climbing the ladder, where's the first, all right, this is kind of getting real. We're going to New York now.
Yeah.
What's the stepping stones as far as locations, or do you not know?
I know all of it. Okay. So, like I said, if we beat Virginia men this Saturday, if we lose, we're out of it. If we beat Virginia Bend on the 15th, we either got to go to North Bay, which is in the middle of Maryland,
Right.
or Nova 3.
So that's regionally, so not cool, but not the craziest.
Right. They switch that every year, so it
Right.
doesn't matter if you have a better record. They switch divisions each year to travel back and forth, if you get what I'm saying. If we win that, then we go to Richmond. Now, Marfu or Capital Rugby Union, whatever the heck you want to call it, we won't even get into all that mess, but they paid so much money to get it in Richmond at Dory Park. So all the people I grew up with in Richmond, I grew up in Chesterfield County, I went to Lloyd C. Byrd, I was all-state in football and wrestling, and all you, my friends who went to Thomas Dayle that I grew up with, if you guys are up there, you want to come watch a great sport, come watch that rugby at Dory Park on April 29th. And then if we win that, we go to nationals. Where that's at, I don't know. They haven't said it yet. But then we got 2 more matches later on. The 6th of May, we play at home against Severn River, which is a great club because they get a lot of Annapolis grads, Navy grads that come over and play. And then the one game that I've been running for Newport News since 2002 is Old Boys, Young Guns. So we get everybody that's over 35 against everybody that's under. We've been very successful with that. It doesn't matter who you play for. Come down and play. The more people we have, the more periods we play. So in other words, we get whatever, like 85 players, right? We'll do like 440s. And it's a great time, man. And then we have the social right at the field. And I want everybody to come out to that and just keep, representing rugby, no matter what club you play for. Because the guys I used to compete against, now I play old boys with. So I want everybody to come out to that and represent their club along with respecting the Newport News Mariners. And that's pretty much all I have with that, sir.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how all of it breaks down. Want to talk a couple Major League Rugby games?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so the Fox game this week
What's the Fox game, sir?
is on Fox Sports 2, and that is the Friday night game. So you can have all your players watch that one.
Yes, sir.
And that is, and all the other rugby games, of course, network.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and click all this up here.
Yeah.
And we have a good one for the first one on Fox Sports 2. It is at 9 o'clock, 9:30 on Friday. But Utah plays New England,
Okay.
and it's basically a pick'em game. No point spread. You just pick one or the other to win. In fact, actually, it looks like maybe New England has moved to like a 1-point favorite now on the road at Utah. But Utah's been an exciting, fun team.
Yeah.
Kind of a contrast of styles here with the big, tough forwards of New England against the speedy and big back line of Utah, big athletes back there.
Yeah.
So interesting game here, Dayle. I mean, you've always been a fan for, the dominant forward team against the superstar back team, right? How does that usually break down or play out when they meet each other like that?
So one thing you can't coach is speed. But if you don't know what to do with your speed, then it's irrelevant. So I'll give you a good example. So this last week we played a B-side game against Western Suburbs. Now, granted, I had, of my 15 starters in the B-side game, only 3 people have ever played a game. And they beat us 38-17 because their forwards, we call them fat forwards. None of them were in shape, but they knew how to control the ball, maintain possession. So what New England's going to do in this game against Utah, they're going to maintain possession, play 10-man rugby. They're going to phase it. They're going to try to suck them backs in. So at this level of rugby, one wing or the other wing is not going to be that much different in speed. The outside center is not going to be that much different in speed. So if you give that extra 5 to 8 meters outside, and that scrum half and fly half recognize that, they're going to beat them. That's the difference in this level of rugby right here. They recognize situational rugby, not you have to do this every play. This is structured rugby. You got to do this. That's garbage. So New England's going to probably shove it down their throat all day. As long as they don't have knock-ons, I see New England winning this game probably 28-17.
Man, all right. You're going to give a score on that, Dayle. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I'm going to – I don't know if I like that game, Dayle. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Both of these teams need to win, Dallas and Toronto, and this is basically the same thing too. Toronto is actually a 1-point favorite at Dallas. Now, Toronto does have a win. This game is on the Rugby Network Saturday night, 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. Dayle, can Dallas get their first win in forever against Toronto, who has been forever on the road here?
I doubt it. And here's the problem with Dallas. I watched them play, so they play really good defense.
Right.
The problem is, now, I'm all about defense and rugby, but you have to be able to get your players involved. So where this fly half for Dallas, he's very athletic, but what he tries to do is do too much. Runs too much flat line. Nobody at that level is going to bite on them crazy fakes they do. So he needs to get his inside center, outside center more involved. And what's happening is the other team's defense is beating them to the game line. So their defense, their forwards are not able to get over there and ruck over properly. So once you get with 20 minutes left in the game, they're losing these matches. So what happens is they're getting this, plays off of the loose play there, and then the forwards of the other team, they're going to take it off there. They're going to get the flanker and 8-man, and they're going to get these overloads with maybe a wing or just a flanker, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
And they're getting scored on with like all these points in the last 25 minutes. So no matter how much great defense you play, you gotta have a fly half who can create a little bit of offense, and that's where Dallas is going to lose out to Toronto, because Toronto's home. And I'm looking at like probably be 30-21, something of that nature, I think.
The good team Houston is at Chicago, and they're going to be a double-digit favorite at Chicago. In fact, let's see what that line is.
What is the line on that one? I got
14.5, so they got to win by 15 points. If you want Houston straight up, you got to risk 1,000 to win 100. So they're going to play that game with you again.
I think Houston will win that because they're at home for one.
Oh, no, so the first team's the home team.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
So Dallas will be the home team to Toronto, but does that matter?
No.
Okay.
You know what I forgot? In rugby, this is the only sport that the first team shown.
The soccer does that.
Right. So, anyway, but
those silly European sports.
Yeah, right. So the fly half and scrum half for Houston are superior to Chicago's fly half and scrum half.
Right.
And the 8-man for Houston is off the chain. That guy is so quick off the 8-man pickup. And that dude picked up a couple last week. I saw him. At that level, if you can beat a flanker off him and get 10 meters, you're doing something. So I'm going to take Houston with a wax job in that one. Like, I'm looking at 38-17, 38-10 or something like that, sir.
All right, and that's Sunday, 2 o'clock on the Rugby Network. That's going to be, that'll be interesting. Okay, so wax job on the SaberCats.
Yeah.
I assume maybe that's your pick of the week. Maybe not.
I'm going
All
Houston.
right, good game here, too. Nola Gold and the Seattle Seawolves. So, again, maybe contrasting styles. Seattle's going to be a short favorite on the road, laying 4.5 points at the Nola Gold. How do you like the Nola Gold's chances at home against the only undefeated team in the league, Dale?
So, like I said, the best scrum half fly half combination in the whole league is Seattle. Them or Houston, okay? But Seattle's defense is the best. I watched them, man. They're tight on that defense, man. If you think about it, right? I'm not a great mathematician, but if you think of the width of the field and your people fan out, all you can do is figure out the division and how far you need to be separated.
Right.
They got the exact measurement almost per man, and no one can break through there. And they're wrapping and bringing them to the deck. Now, no coach is ever going to be mad if you tackle somebody, whether you grab him on the shoulders, put him down, wrap him, or take him down. If you are mad about it, then you got more issues than that. But you want to wrap up. That way you can set the game line. That way you can have your team not keep running around. That extra 2 to 3 meters each time, wear a defense out. So I'm thinking in that situation, Seattle's defense is that good. And I think they work on conditioning and practice, man, because they get with 20 minutes left in the game, man. They get to the ball so quick. Nola's forwards are going to have to control this game for them to have a chance. They're not going to beat them in the backfield, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is a good game. This is going to be a fun game to watch. That's Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to still look for the game that I like the most. These are all hard, to be honest.
They are, because they're pretty much even other than,
I like your Houston angle, to be honest. Maybe that's the one.
Yeah,
One layup this weekend. Okay. All right. Rugby New York is hosting Atlanta. Another home hard one. Atlanta,
so
not super bad yet, but they seem to just lose to the better teams. But they're 9.5-point underdogs to New York. So if you like New York, they need to win by 10. Your thoughts on that, Dayle?
I like New York in this one because they got a better defense, and you're playing at home as well. So, like I said, you don't get tired on offense. Okay, you get tired on defense. If you're getting waxed, you're getting tired. If you're winning, you're never tired. That's my philosophy. So, New York's at home, superior defense. Atlanta, they have a little bit better offense, but you can't create offense if you're knocking the ball on. And I think Rugby Atlanta's had more knock-ons this year than everybody. I don't know the full.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of knock-ons this year. That's the one thing I've seen too.
Crazy at that level, man. So that shouldn't happen. I'm going to take New York. The iron workers are going to work their iron on their boys.
Situational awareness is as simple as be ready for the ball.
Yes.
San Diego hosts Old Glory DC 4 o'clock on Sunday. So San Diego has been one of the better teams. This will be a good benchmark for Old Glory DC. Can they make the long trip out west and win this game?
You know what I told you? Houston's about to sell in? No, this one is right here. I'm sorry. San Diego's going to wax Old Glory, okay? So this guy for Old Glory is playing scrum half. He's very athletic, but he's hot-headed as all get out. That boy thinks that, when you – like I like what my forwards coach says. He says when you make it about the referee and the team, okay, now remember, a lot of people don't understand, right? They think as you play professional sports, you're supposed to be more mature than, say, a 25-year-old works at 7-Eleven.
I would just watch the NBA and the way they complain to the referee.
Exactly, right? So this dude right here, he's only 20, I think 25, 26, whatever he is. He's got an air about him. I mean, obviously he's very talented, very athletic, but he's cost them 2 games so far. Man, San Diego, I think they're going to run it up in them. Old Glory's going to play them tough the first 30 minutes. And then after that, the conditioning is going to set in, the road trip. And I believe that San Diego will win this game like 38-10, sir.
Okay. All right. I can see that happening too. And you can move the point spreads to get better numbers all around. So, for example, in that game, if you think that do they have the alternates up yet? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So if you think that San Diego can win by 17 points,
right,
instead of 11.5, then they'll pay you like 2-1 odds. How about that? So you can do that for all the games if you think you see an upset somewhere in the mix. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to root for Dallas, Dayle, to get there first.
Yeah.
Win at home for the year.
I got one more thing.
What's that?
And this is where I have to humble myself on the coaching of rugby and playing. Anybody out there that has any drills, okay, or anything they want to, send me, or, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's simple passing drills, rucking drills, setting the ball drills, this, that, and the other, it doesn't matter. Send them to me. I'm more obliged. You can never learn enough about this game because the laws change every year. Every year they change. They always want more offensive rugby. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a defensive guy. I go against the trend. I'm not worried about what fan base wants. My club's going to play defense first, and then we're going to go to the offense because once we shut you down, then our offense is going to take over. And it's done. We've been successful so far, and we're going to keep trying to do that. And if something comes up to where we get beat badly, then I have to learn. I have to make adjustments for my team from that aspect on.
Dayle, I'm going to say it right now. That when we get to the end of the Major League Rugby season, the winner of Major League Rugby Championship is going to be one of the teams who has allowed the least amount of points.
I'll bet you.
On the season.
Yes, sir.
And they'll carry that through the playoffs. All right. Newport News, big game Saturday at Where's that at again?
It's at
Crittenden Middle School?
Yes, sir. Crittenden Middle School, which is at 6158 Jefferson Avenue, right there at Jefferson and Mercury, practically, near the shipyard. If anybody wants to see a good rugby game, come on out, man, and join us, man. It's a fun time. And the social afterwards is even better.
Who's the referee? Do you know?
We do not know. We're going to have a Marford referee.
Okay.
Okay. So we got to respect referees because I did refereeing, but everybody referees different. And I want to get into that for 2 minutes real quick before we go on.
All right.
So when I referee, the first thing I tell every team, I'm more about safety. Okay, I don't care. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, but I'm going to tell it straight out. I ain't worried about that wing on the far side being offside. They ain't got nothing to do with the play. Just like if you got an interference call on one side of the field in football, ain't got nothing to do with this guy running the ball over here or whatever. The safety of the game is the main thing you need to call, especially at lower level rugby, because you don't want nobody getting injured. Everybody's got to work for a living. So referees that are talking teams to death prior to a match, you're wasting your energy. So what you need to do is come out there and say, look, no coming from the side, no leaving your feet, no high tackles, that's safety. If you do it, I'm yellow carding you or red carding you. That's what you need to put out. Not sit there and let the game get in 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and you let a fan or some player get under your skin and then you stop the game. Because what you're doing is you're screwing both teams and you're ruining the game of rugby. So if you're refereeing, this is everybody. I'll tell you right to your face. If you're refereeing, no matter what sport, do not let players or fan bases get under your skin. You need to control the game from the onset. Once you do that, you can make 4 or 5 bad calls. It's going to happen. But no one's going to get on your case about it. Stand tall. Have thick skin. Don't worry about that 2-year-old stuff and being sensitive to everything. Because we need referees for rugby and every other sport. And we appreciate everybody that does that. Thank you very much.
All right. Very well put. Very well put. All right. So Newport News, a big game. We'll get an update for that. We'll see what we can dig up for a guest for next week. Good games of Major League Rugby, a good slate. This is the best week of Major League Rugby yet. So everyone make sure you tune into those. The Rugby Network has everything. Fox Sports 2 will carry the Friday night 9:30 game with Utah and New England. Is that the game?
Yes, sir.
Utah and New England. Yeah, contrasting styles. Okay. Coach Dayle, appreciate it, man. Have a safe drive back to Newport News.
Thank you, sir. Love it.
All right. Coach Dayle Runner, I'm Stephen Murray. This is Initiate the Contact on Deep End Broadcasting. We will talk to you next week.
I think that was our best one, to be honest.